Hello, my name is Stephanie Padilla. I am in the hospitality marketing class this summer. Today I'll be talking about public relations and publicity from chapter 18. For this presentation, I chose question number 4. This chapter suggests that an organization must plan ahead to handle negative publicity. Assume that you are a public relations director for an organization in a specific part of our industry. What are 5 possible situations that might give your organization bad publicity? Be as specific as possible. Write a set of procedures for each situation that describes how you and others in your organizations should handle these situations. In other words, how would you respond? So I'd like to talk about question 4 a little bit later on after we've reviewed chapter 18. So first we have key terms. Public relations, publicity, internal public, external public, and public relations plan. I will go a little bit further into these. First, let's start off with public relations. So this includes all activities that a hospitality and travel organization uses to maintain or improve its relationship with other organizations and individuals. And diving right into its partner, publicity. Publicity is one of public relations techniques which involves non-paid communication of information about an organization's services. So it's pretty common to hear terms such as publicity stunt, publicity campaign, and these can be both good or bad. Public relations and publicity kind of goes hand in hand, and they have 3 roles. First role, maintaining a positive public presence, very important. Number 2, which we will talk about later on, handling negative publicity. And 3, enhancing effectiveness of other promotional mix elements. So we have internal publics, which are in-house. These are employees, employees' families, unions, shareholders, owners. They're referred to as in-house because they are everybody involved within the company, from like all the way from an employer to an owner. That includes just about everybody. And then we have external publics. So these are out-of-house publics. These are the customers, potential customers, complementary hospitality and travel organizations, competitors, industry and local communities, government, the media, press, financial community, and hospitality and tourism schools, such as us. And then our last term is public relations plan. So this is a 9-step process of how organizations should manage the whole aspect of public relations. So the first step is to set objectives based on each of the organization's publics, kind of like a target market. The second step is deciding on in-house public relations for an agency. This is usually determined by the size of the company and the availability of the staff within the company. The third step is establishing a tentative public relations and publicity budget. The fourth step is to consider cooperative public relations or promotional partnerships. Fifth step is selecting PR and publicity techniques, continuous activities, pre-planned long-term activities, or unpredictable short-plan activities. Sixth step is selecting public relations and publicity media based on target market. Seventh step is deciding on timing of public relations, because timing is everything. Eighth step is preparing final public relations plan and budget. Ninth step is measuring and evaluating success, measuring how it went, what could have gone better, what you could do to improve in the future. So I'd like to get back to question number 4 now. So first part of that question is, this chapter suggests an organization must plan ahead to handle negative publicity. So this is a little hard. So we've all seen celebrities who have done something wild or crazy that have kind of landed them in some bad waters, and they've had to kind of recover from that. It gets a bad reputation, and this is something that could happen to businesses, in our day and age of cell phones, smartphones, and social media. News travels very quickly. There is little to no room for error when you're in the public eye, and like I said, it could be the same for businesses, big or small. With sites such as Yelp and Facebook, it is easy for a bad experience to go viral very quickly. And this could have disastrous results for any business. And it's important to know how to deal with this negative publicity. Not all public relations activities can be carefully planned, and so some things are unpredictable and are therefore pretty difficult to plan for. Handling negative publicity is something everyone from all types of career fields will have to deal with at some point. In my line of work, I plan and coordinate weddings for clients. I do not work for a venue, so I work directly with the clients. I represent the client, and I'm with them every step of the way as we start planning this elaborate affair. So planning a wedding is obviously not an easy task, and things will go wrong. That's just the way it is. But it's my job to not only salvage poor situation, but to ensure that there are no business-related consequences. I have provided 5 situations in which things could go wrong, and how I, as a wedding planner, would take responsibility and try to salvage. So, first we have not delivering everything agreed upon. This would be like a breach of contract, missing important details. This could have happened because I had too much going on. I had too many weddings I was trying to take care of. Personal things in my life got a little crazy, and I didn't perform all the tasks that I agreed that I would. This would obviously be incredibly upsetting. So, bad recommendations. This could be recommendation for vendors, venues, decor, food, anything really. This could happen for any number of reasons. As a wedding planner, it could happen for selfish reasons because, say, I have a friend who is a caterer, and I constantly recommend her, regardless of her abilities to perform well or to perform what that particular client needs. I could recommend them because they're my friends, or because I would like to use them as a preferred vendor and get kickbacks. Something where I would get something in return would be pretty selfish. Bad recommendations would be that I didn't do my research as a wedding planner, and I provided this information to my client without actually knowing what they're looking for, as opposed to what that particular vendor provides. That would be a very poor recommendation. So this one, drinking and or getting drunk. This would be awful to do at a client's wedding. Whether it's invited or uninvited, this would mean that I either had too much, maybe I didn't eat that day, and something happened that I had one too many, and then I'm unable to perform duties or finish the event. Running late. So whether I am personally running late and they can't start without me, sort of thing, or the bride is either the bride is really stressed out, and because I'm running late, she's running late, the whole schedule's off, or if I'm unable to keep up with the schedule events, period. As a wedding planner, it is my job to make sure that everything runs on time because, most things are by the hour. My clients are paying by the hour, and it's my responsibility to make sure that everything runs smoothly and on time so that they are not charged, they get everything that they have asked for. And the last awful situation would be going over budget. Things like not sticking to a budget, not being truthful about exact expenses, or if I were to charge them for services that were not part of the contract. Kind of nickel and diming them for every little thing would be cause really bad publicity. So sort of golden rules for wedding planners or anybody really for handling negativity and dissatisfaction. First step would be to apologize right away without argument. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'd be taking blame if I didn't do something wrong, but an apology would at least allow them to feel like I sympathize with the situation and I'm actually caring. I would be truthful at all times, even in bad predicaments. It never helps to falsify anything. I would try to be truthful about every step that I took, every decision I made, every little thing. You can also counteract inaccuracies by telling your side of the story. So if you know that something happened, something bad happened, and your client or maybe a guest is going to post something on social media or even on your website, maybe you could post a statement, and after you've already talked to them and tried to apologize, I would definitely try to post something online so that everybody can see your side of the story and kind of explain maybe what happened or what went wrong. Next, I would offer to mend some, not all, inconveniences with a refund, voucher, or discount. If something happened that I broke or something that went wrong, such as if I were to be drunk at a client's wedding, I would definitely offer a huge refund or discount. And also, it's important to understand someone's need to express their dissatisfaction and try not to get emotional. With everything, though, it is very important to remain professional at all times, especially in the wedding and events industry. Everybody's having fun, it's a party atmosphere, it's very hard to not get swept up in all that excitement. You do have to remain professional at all times. For future reference, I would try to review and consider ways that I could have handled the situation differently and how I could improve them in the future. And lastly, rebuild reputation by generating positive PR. So, maybe if I have a negative review on my company's website, I could try to show off situations, weddings, or events that went extremely well and people who were extremely happy about them. I think that would be a very good way to bring some positive public relations back into it. So all of these are awful situations that I, as a wedding planner, would be hated for doing. I do think it's very, very important to take responsibility. We definitely want our clients to walk away happy, give us good reviews, referrals, and when you're in the public eye, it is very important. So here are my resources, and thank you, everybody.